Welcome to this week's Central Arkansas Basketball Report. I'm your host, Steve Owens, and this week the Bears and Sugar Bears went on the road for the final time in the regular season, traveling to Beaumont, Texas and Lake Charles, Louisiana to take on the Lamar Cardinals and the McNeese State Cowboys and Cowgirls. We'll be back with men's assistant coach Anthony Walker when we return right after this.
This is the Central Arkansas Basketball Report, sponsored by Conway Chamber of Commerce, AT&T, All Clean Restoration Services, Crane Automotive, AT&T, The Real Yellow Pages, Sonic Drive-In, Log Cabin Democrat, and Zaxby's.
Whether it's mom's smartphone, dad's tablet, Lauren's smartphone, or Kevin's smartphone, AT&T makes it affordable for the whole family to share data on all their devices. With AT&T Mobile Share, you can add a tablet for $10 a month. AT&T. Rethink possible.
Since footlongs are the limousines of hot dogs,
Yes.
we're celebrating Sonic's 4 new footlongs limo style.
Okay, that's cool. I understand that they're really awesome and worth celebrating, but I wish we were in a limo. We're just sitting in the back of my car with a limo driver in the front.
Oh, he's not a limo driver.
Who is he?
I don't know, I thought you knew him.
No, I don't know him.
Cool, mystery.
Get any of the new footlong quarter-pound hot dogs with tots for just $3.99. And try the new Sweetheart Shake. This is how you Sonic.
Welcome back to the show, and joining me assistant coach Anthony Walker again this week. And coach, it was a big week coming in. You've had some momentum off the Southern Illinois Edwardsville win at home. Went on the road with a chance to clinch a first ever berth in the Southland Conference tournament. Lamar on Thursday, McNeese Saturday, and what a big week it was going in.
Yeah, it really was. You know, it's a huge road trip for us going into it. You know, we knew it in our mentality, if we go in and get at least one, we'll most likely be in the tournament. And with the Lamar game, you win, you're in. And you don't want to put the fate in someone else's hands. You want to be able to kind of control your own destiny, and we did that on Thursday. Talk
about, as far as preparation going into the Lamar game, we talked to Coach Williamson last week about, although we handled him pretty good here at home, you could tell with the young group that he has and a good coach like that, his team has gotten much better as the season went on, and you saw evidence of that Thursday night.
Yeah, they really have, and you know, especially at home. They're a very good home team. They've played a lot of good teams close at home and actually got a home win against Corpus Christi. So going into the game, we knew it would be different. We knew it would be tough. Anytime you go on the road in this league, it's tough to win. Talk about some of the keys going in. You mentioned, I guess, psychologically wise, also coming off that win, snapping that 5-game losing streak, knowing to win to get in. I'm sure that kind of helped the situation, didn't it? It did. You know, we didn't know if it was going to put pressure on our guys or kind of give them some freedom to just kind of play loose. But we knew that going into the game, we had to get the win in order to secure a tournament berth. You know, things could happen later on. We might have made it, but we knew we had to get that one. So the guys' focus, I thought, was there in practice leading up to the game, and we started out kind of slow, but we kind of caught up later on in the game. So getting to the highlights at the Montaigne Center in Beaumont, we got off to a slow start. That's not necessarily something y'all have been not accustomed to. Y'all are used to that and had to get it going. It seemed like the team came out flat, didn't it? They did, you know, and we've tried some different things, and like we spoke about before on the show, you know, we just can't quite put a finger on why we come out to such a slow start. You know, it was even through the first 5 or so minutes, but then Lamar kind of started going a run, and we had to withstand it. And, you know, it's just one of those things where we've kind of got to figure out a way to get over it, because in the conference tournament, you know, you're in a one-and-done format, so you can't afford to get off to a bad start. The good news is, as you kind of battle back and forth, you did get off that slow start, you had your outside shots falling, and Robert Crawford remained key the whole game long. Right. You know, Rob made that first 3 off the backboard, and it kind of trickled in for us, so we knew from then on, hey, he's going to get his confidence now. And you saw him knock down a shot just a second ago, and he just had a huge night for us both halves. I know. One of the keys going in this game is how you guys had to manage the foul situation as well. Playing on the road, some of the foul calls went against us, and several of your key players ended up with foul trouble throughout the entire game. Yeah, we really did. We were in big-time foul trouble the whole night. And it's one of those situations where Coach Williamson does a great job with the foul situation. You know, if you have 2 in the first half, you're pretty much going to sit till the second half. If you pick up a quick third in the second half, you're going to sit till about the 10-minute mark. So he does a really good job, and it helped us because obviously it's an overtime game. You need all your guys. One thing as we come down to the end of the first half, your threes were falling, and luckily a late flurry. You went up at the break 37-35, and little did you know the fun was just beginning. Definitely. Huge possession there at the end of the first half. Ryan Williams made all 3 free throws. He got fouled on a 3. So that was big going into halftime because, like we talked about earlier, we were down going in halftime, a little bit of momentum, so we felt good coming out in the second half.
You know, one thing that's been a key to this team all year, besides your main three, has been your bench play and how they really came up big. Part of that due on Thursday due to the foul trouble, but other situations really needing your bench to step up.
Yeah, and our bench has all year. You know, we've probably got 2-3 guys on the bench that could start for us, and at some point this year have started for us. You know, Jordan Harks is a starter. He just doesn't start for us in games. So every game in the second half, we start him to get us off to a good start in the second half, and he does a great job for us. Ryan Williams gave us huge minutes. You see Deshaun McClure right there knocking down a 3. He knocked down 2 big threes back-to-back that really gave us a cushion in the second half.
So you were able to get that cushion, but Lamar, as we've talked about, much improving. They didn't go away in this game, and they fought right back.
They didn't at all, and they hit some shots, and they had some key possessions as Robert Crawford knocks down one of his many threes on the night. This was a huge play right here, an and one in the corner. We were down 5 at that point. Rob made his free throw. And then right here, LaQuinton Miles able to get to the basket. It goes in for us, and luckily sent it to overtime.
I'd say one thing that helped as well as your perimeter defense. They went 0 for 5 from behind the arc. You ended up knocking down 11 of 21. The 3-ball was a difference in this game.
It really was, you know, and Rob had one of those nights. He had one of those nights up at Southeast Missouri earlier in the season where he seemed to be unconscious from 3. And, you know, when he's going off like that, it really doesn't matter where he shoots it from. This is a great play right here by Ryan Williams, saving it from going out of bounds and have the presence of mind not just to throw up a crazy shot, but to pass it to LaQuinton.
That sent us into the next overtime frame, and I think this is where your depth really started to show.
I think our depth and conditioning started to show. We saw it all over Lamar's face. They were tired. Our guys were still in great shape. We could have played 2 more overtime periods. And Jarvis Garner kind of took over for us there in that second overtime.
What we didn't see is Crawford fouled out with 30 points, so this is where your bench did come up, and right there Oliver Wells just sticks it from the top.
Big time 3. Here's a big time and 1 by Q. We had a lot of guys contribute in that win.
It was a big double overtime win, 106-99, and we talked about it before this game started. You talked about it with your team, and congratulations, you guys earned your first trip to Katy, Texas. That's been the goal all along, and with that win, you punched your ticket.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and it's big for our program. First time in school history we've been to the Southland Tournament, so we're excited.
And it was good to get off on the road trip on a high note with that win, and everything just seemed to go downhill from there as we go into the next game against McNeese State. They were coming off a big win against Oral Roberts, I believe, so it's kind of one of those, well, it doesn't get any easier on the road, does it?
No, it doesn't, and they played very well against ORU. We all know ORU is one of the top 3 teams in the league. And they did a great job at home against Oral Roberts, held them to 54 points, I think. So we knew it was going to be a tough task going into McNeese.
After the win on Thursday, did you worry about any kind of emotional letdown a little bit, knowing that you'd actually accomplished one of your goals?
Yeah, we did. And sometimes our team is tough to read. They didn't seem like they were going to let down, but at the same time, you know that's human nature. So we really stressed that in the scouting report at the hotel and also right before the game.
And then with the results against McNeese here at home and that overtime win, I know coming off an overtime win on the road at Beaumont, you knew that probably in for a long game.
Yeah, McNeese is one of those teams that when we match up with them, you know it's going to be a close game. And pretty much it has been the last couple of years, and, you know, this game was no different, you know. The 3 overtime game here at our place was a classic, and we're fortunate to be a part of that and get a win out of it. Hit 2 big shots down the stretch to even get into overtime. But yeah, we knew it was going to be a tough game, especially on the road. It was their senior night. They were honoring some of their past legends. So we knew it was going to be a very difficult atmosphere and a difficult game.
So as we get to the highlights of Burton Coliseum, they were the first conference team, I think, ever to get to 300 wins. So they honored a bunch of their past players and coaches. So you knew emotions were going to run high.
Yeah, we did. And Coach Williamson did a good job in pregame, as you see Rob knocking down a 3, continuing his hot stretch from the Lamar game. But Coach knew that they would come out on a high because of senior night. They actually, one of their players, 32 Guidry, he hit 6 threes in the game, and coming into the game, he'd only hit 7 all year. So, you know, we knew that we had to withstand that initial run, and they came out hot.
So you turned it over early. The shots weren't falling. I know y'all were bolstered with at least getting a couple players back, so you had some more added depth in the roster.
We did. You know, having Berete back and having T. Brown back, even though T didn't play, helped us. Just like you said before, with foul trouble, being able to substitute some guys in when a guy picked up 1 or 2 fouls. But, you know, this first half, McNeese was on fire. We turned it over 13 times, which you cannot do that, especially in a half, and expect to win a game. We talked about turning it over 12 times or less in a game. We turned it over 13 times. Really, the only thing that saved us in this first half was us crashing the offensive glass. We got a lot of offensive rebound putbacks in this first half.
Say the three, we saw the three right there, but it wasn't falling nearly as effectively as it was on Thursday night as well. So it's kind of one of those where you really go into halftime just kind of trying to hang on the best you can, weren't you?
Yeah, and you see a big-time dunk by Jarvis there. Our guys just kind of fought and clawed and kind of gutted it out. Got to the offensive glass, and like you said, get into halftime, manageable. Down by only 8 when we were down by 17 in the first half. So we made it manageable, a chance for us to come out and make a run in the second half.
Talk about how key the rebounding was throughout this game.
It was huge. We out-rebounded McNeese big time in this game. We had 49, they had 39, so out-rebounded them by 10. 18 offensive rebounds, which is big, especially when you get it from Jarvis and Anthony. LaQuinton had 3, so it wasn't just 1 or 2 guys. Everybody was crashing for us.
So I know LaQuinton Miles fouled out before he did. 17 points, 10 rebounds, really leading this team. Crawford had 18. Your big 3 were big in this game.
They really were. You see Q getting the lane right there. He was able to penetrate against McNeese all night. And when he's on his game, he's tough to guard. Big rebound right there and put back. So, Anthony was big for us, and Rob hit some more big shots for us.
Talk about the effort it took to come back. You mentioned down 17 in the first half, down 8 at the break, and then after the energy expounded at Beaumont on Thursday night. Talk about what it took to come back in this game.
Well, defensively, I think is where it all started. McNeese went on a huge run. They were hitting shots. They got to a big lead, 17-point lead, and I thought defensively we started clamping down on the other end, giving them just one shot, boxing out, making them take some tough shots, and we were scoring on top of that. So on the defensive end, just getting stops, I thought that was big.
So you held them to like 30-something% shooting in the second half, and out rebounding by 10. It really started on the defensive end.
It really did. And if we're going to go far in the conference tournament, that's where it's going to have to start for us, in the defensive end.
Well, the good news is you were able to hold on by the slimmest of margins, 68-67. 6-11 now in conference play, but 6 wins, the most that UCA's had since they moved into the Southland Conference. You've won 3 in a row now. Got a lot of momentum going on your side.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because it's about progress. Program's not built overnight. It takes 3-4 years, sometimes 5 years to build it, and we're just now kind of seeing the fruit of our labor. So it's really nice to have those wins start to build up and have some success in the conference and win 2 games on the road. That's huge for us.
Say it is huge, and then you get this week off. I know coach is recruiting. You guys are going to hit the recruiting trail. Your guys get a chance to get their legs back under them before one final game here at home on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice. Early in the week, it's going to kind of be light. We're going to get a lot of shots up and kind of go over some stuff, some defensive stuff that we need to work on. Later in the week, Thursday, Friday, we'll get into the ORU game plan, but it's going to be big, just getting some rest. And going into ORU, that's a game where, it's senior night, and we really need to win that one.
Say, I know you got beat pretty good at ORU, but they were playing on all cylinders. You want your chance to get them here too, don't you?
They were playing on all cylinders. We had just come off 4 straight losses. Our mentality was bad. We didn't get off to a good start, and we just couldn't withstand their initial run. So here at our place, having won 3 straight, trying to make it 4, senior night, really trying to send Anthony, Jarvis, and Robert out on a good note. Hopefully we'll have a good crowd, and hopefully the crowd will be behind us, and I think it'll be a much better game here at our place.
Say, this group is really led. You talked about this, the most win totals in conference play, and they are smack dab key in the middle of that.
They really are. They've stepped up big for us this year on different occasions, and I tell the guys and coaches all the time, it's going to be scary if we ever get Jarvis where he's going off one night, Rob on the same night, LaQuinton and Anthony, along with the other guys that contribute. We could be a really scary team if they all come together on one night.
It was a great week last week. Congratulations going to Katy, Texas.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's assistant coach Anthony Walker joining us this week. When we come back, we'll have graduate assistant Destiny Rogers of the UCA Sugar Bears coming up right after this.
Flooding happens. When it does, call All Clean Restoration, Arkansas's solution to disaster restoration. Flooding, fire and smoke, tornado, and more. We are Arkansas's #1 restoration company, able to reverse the damage of any disaster, large or small, and get your home or business back to the way it should be.
Tell your insurance company you prefer All Clean Restoration.
All Clean Restoration, proudly serving all of Arkansas.
Real Yellow Pages, YP.com, and YP.com on your mobile. More ways to search, more ways to find. only from AT&T.
Welcome back to the show, and joining me this week, assistant coach Shameka Russell in our first year from Delta State, graduate assistant Destiny Rogers, and head coach Sandra Rushing with this long off week. They're on the road recruiting, so thanks for joining us, Coach. And big week on the road. You played 2 on the road, 1 at Lamar, 1 at McNeese State. Mixed results, but it was good to come off and end the road trip with a win at McNeese State.
Yes. Let's talk about Lamar first.
We got to Lamar, and not much to be said there. It's kind of one of those efforts. You felt good coming in. Team had kind of turned the corner a little bit, but for whatever reason came out flat, and Lamar just really took it to us early on, didn't they?
Yes. I thought we played about 18 minutes of good basketball at Lamar, and it went down from there. Starting off the game, they slapped Megan Herbert with 2 fouls early, and I actually thought our bench handled it well up until about 2 minutes left in the game when Khalees got the technical foul. As a coach, you would hope that flagrant fouls give you the momentum, but I think it didn't happen that way for us.
So as we get to the highlights, it was a tough start, as you mentioned. Within 2 minutes, Megan Herbert got hit with 2 fouls, so we're going to struggle anytime that happens, but we saw some kids come off the bench and respond and really kept it close throughout the first half.
All right, I agree with that. I thought our bench came in to do a really good job, actually. Like I said, up until the 2-minute mark.
So you got a lot of help from Desiree Rogers. Courtney Doover stepped up big in the first half. It was kind of just piece it together until you could get to the second half. And you mentioned kind of a late dust up between Courtney Doover and Khalees Lloyd, where they kind of got tangled. They got tangled up on the opening tip, but then later on in the half, Khalees Lloyd got a little extra physical, got called for a technical foul. We hit both free throws, but that seemed almost the opposite effect, and it seemed to really wake Lamar up more than it did to help us.
I agree with that. I thought we took a couple of bad shots, which led into we was only down by 3 at that point, and then before you know it, we were down by 9.
I say we saw Jamaica Watkins come off the bench. She had big weeks. Tracy Parsons as well. You needed your bench play to step up. Defensively, they did for most of the first half.
Yes, I agree with that.
You held Lamar to just 39% shooting, turned them over several times. You were where you needed to be. We were down at the break, 32-23 though. After, for whatever reason, that team, that technical really helped Lamar more than anything. So you go down 9 at the break, then you get Megan Herbert back, but Lamar was just too tough in the second half.
Oh yeah, we made a couple of decisions to actually, as I'm sure you noticed, we started off the game in the zone. And when you're in a zone, you have to be aware of where the shooters are, and we didn't do that. So before we know it, we were down by 20, and it was just too big of a hole. We couldn't get out of it.
Say Lamar came out against that zone. They went 5 for 10 alone in the second half from behind the arc, and it was just no matter how much Desiree Rogers or Megan Herbert tried to make it up in the second half offensively, they just jumped out and they ran away too far, didn't they?
Right, I agree. And that, speaking of Desiree Rogers, that's actually the only positive thing I have to say about Lamar is Desiree reached a milestone, and I'm very proud of her.
Yeah, she went 5 of 8 at the free throw line. Her final free throw she made gave her 1,000 career points as a UCA Sugar Bear, just a 22nd player to do so all time. So there was a little bit of a silver lining. I think that's how we described it in the loss to Lamar. But 76-53 a loss. You dropped to 7-9 in league play, 14-13 overall. And I know no one was real pleased with the effort in the second half. And unfortunately, you come away with a loss, and then you have to turn right around and go to Lake Charles to take on McNeese State.
All right. Let's talk about McNeese now.
Let's talk about going into practice and kind of some of the things that coaching staff, y'all had to adjust for after what happened here at Conway, the first meeting.
Oh, yeah. Well, as you know, McNeese actually spoiled it for us. They broke the streak, and the girls had a bitter feeling going into that, and I think we responded well going into the game, spoiling their senior night.
We talk about playing on their senior day. 2 great players that we have seen for 4 years now, the Baggett twins. What they've accomplished at McNeese is almost the same as this senior class has accomplished here at UCA. Both programs were down in the dumps when they took over. So going in, you want to beat them, but so much respect for the way they played the game on the other side.
Yes, indeed. Both of those twins are great players.
All right, coming off the loss at Lamar, obviously go to McNeese State, and then kind of some travel issues on Saturday going to McNeese State. That game had to end up pushing an hour back because of some bus. It wasn't a bus trouble; it was the fact that there was a wreck on the interstate. But kind of talk about having your team sit on a bridge in Lake Charles, Louisiana, for 2 hours on the way to the basketball game.
Well, it really didn't seem like 2 hours because, of course, the girls made it interesting. We actually did I'm sure everyone know of the Harlem Shake video, so they made it interesting.
So you've seen this now in this 1 year. This team, they can get loose when they want to. They have a focused side, but in that situation, is it good to have them loose instead of maybe just sitting on the bus and tense and solely focused on the game, and especially as long as that weight ended up being, have them get off the bus and basically kind of goof around and kind of get loose and be themselves?
Yeah, I think it was good. I was actually sitting there tense like, oh my God, but they were not timid, and I think that actually it had a good effect on us. We came out focused and ready to play.
So you think that helped at all? Because we've seen this team, they have up and down moments on the floor. You think this is kind of one of those deals where we've seen this team come back to us over the last couple of weeks, and this just kind of helps the chemistry even more?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think it did.
And we're going to tell secrets on Coach Rushing, but right there smack dab in the middle, as hard and as tense as she is, as successful coach as she is, doing whatever she needs to do to get her team ready to play, and jumping right in the middle of that video as well. Just kind of talk about the way that she knows how to motivate her team for whatever cause she needs it to be motivated for.
Yes, I agree. I know Coach Rushing, and I've been knowing her for a while, and I was shocked, but like you said, she would do anything to get the team prepared, and she didn't want them to be tense, which is why I think the reason was she actually got out there and did the Harlem Shake with them.
As we get to the highlights in Lake Charles, McNeese came out. They came up fired up as you thought they would on their senior day. They were knocking out some shots from outside, but a much different defensive effort than what we saw Thursday night, and a much better defensive effort than what we saw here in Conway several weeks ago by the Sugar Bear team.
Yes, I agree with that. McNeese came in and actually spoiled the winning streak that the girls had, and I think the girls had a bitter feeling going into it, so we spoiled something for them as well.
We got off to a slow start. A lot of that had to do with turnovers. Turned it over a lot early in the game, but you shot 45.5% from the field in the first half. When we got the shots, they were falling, and I know that helped keep the game fairly close throughout the first half.
Mm-hmm. Our shots did not fall early, but we tell the girls all the time, defense determines your offense. So we was playing good defense, and that's what kept us in the game early. Our defensive intensity.
We saw it from a couple bench players. Tracy Parsons, the senior, and then Shameka Watkins, the freshman. They got extended minutes, A, because of some foul trouble and some other players, but B, how effective they were against the McNeese guards.
Yes, I thought Shameka Watkins she did a great job defensively and offensively, getting to the rack offensively, and she actually stepped up and guarded the twins as well.
And Desiree Rogers, we mentioned her in the last game. She got off to a hot start, scored 10 points early on. She really kept us in it offensively to the second half, other than Megan Herbert, and we can sing more of her praises later on in the show. But offensively, good start, down by 5 at the break. But second half, the team came out with a much different effort and focus and clamped down defensively.
Yes, I agree. Me and Coach Rushing was talking about this. We talked about going into the game, whether we wanted to play a man or a zone. We played a man the whole game, and our girls did a great job.
So talk about that effort. In the second half, McNeese shot just 7 of 30 from the field, 23%. Talk about that effort defensively, where this team responded.
Well, I think it was more shape. Second half, I think McNeese got a little winded, and just playing one game last week on Tuesday, yeah, it was Tuesday, we conditioned a lot, and even when we went into overtime, we told the girls, we're going to win this game because of shape, and I think that's what it came down to in the end.
You have Megan Herbert on your team, 35 points, 17 rebounds. Obviously the leader of this team, the effort that she put up on this afternoon kept this team in it a couple of times when McNeese made runs. Just talk about her effort in this win over McNeese State.
It's awesome. Megan is the hardest working player I've ever seen, and the points were silent. It's just from off of putbacks, and she knocked down a couple of crunch three-pointers. And I just thought her effort was awesome.
Rebounding, 53-38, Sugar Bears out-rebounded McNeese State. Obviously a major key in this game was the way we rebounded much better than we did against them here in Conway.
Yes. Our 3 bigs actually showed up. Our big 3, and speaking of Megan, Courtney, and Ray. When they show up, we have a ball game.
We talked about the defensive effort, but a lot of that had to do with the rebounding. They were shooting the ball poorly, but they were not able to get second chance opportunities. The Sugar Bears were able to get those rebounds, and Courtney had a double-double, 13 points, 14 rebounds. Jamaica Watkins, 7 points. She had 7 rebounds, and obviously Megan Herbert, 35 points, 17 rebounds. Getting those key defensive rebounds help as much as anything is hard defensive effort, doesn't it?
Yes. We in a timeout, we told the girls, if you want to win this ball game, box out. And I think they did a great job of it, preventing them from second chance shots.
Able to get the overtime win, 77-69. Record improves to 15-13, thus ensuring another 500 or better season here in the Sugar Bear program. I think it'll be our 4th or our 5th in a row as the Sugar Bear program, just 7 years of Division I. How big is that to get a winning season pulled within one game of 500 in the conference tournament and then get some momentum going into this off week?
That's great, especially going into the tournament feeling good. Hopefully we respond against Oral Roberts. Of course, we will start all our seniors because it's senior night, but Steve, that's huge.
Talk about this senior class. I know you've only been around them 1 year, but just this group as a total, you've seen the results they've had these previous 3 seasons, and then getting to coach a player like Megan Herbert, or having Desiree Rogers, and then Brittany Gowans, and then Chantel Moss, and even having Tracy Parsons come in. You know, you guys brought her in. Talk about this senior class as a whole.
Yes, as a whole. First, let's start off with Megan. She's make my job easier. I can say that. And I thought Chantel, she's came in and played her role this year, done a really good job. Tracy Parsons, she's not originally a point guard, but we have to ask her to actually come in and play point for us a few games, and I think she actually done a pretty good job of that. And Brittany Goins, how about her? She's done a great job with her 3-pointers and her energy. I tell her all the time, we go how she goes. So
it's a great senior class. You have one more chance to see them in person here on Saturday afternoon. Congratulations on the win at McNeese State, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Steve.
That's assistant coach Shameka Russell. We'll be back next week for our final edition of the regular season here on the Central Arkansas Basketball Report.
If you're coming to Conway for football, get ready to put your game face on. For shopping, dining, accommodations, and more, come for football. Stay to play. Learn more at conwayarkansas.org.
Hey, Jay Myers here for Crane Buick GMC in Conway, and we are big supporters of the UCA Bears. What we want to know is, what's your favorite bear call? Bear call number 1. Bear call number 2. Bear call number 3. Go Bears! Go Bears! Go Bears! Vote for your favorite bear call at Crane Buick GMC's Facebook page, plus bring in your ticket stub for an extra $500 off your next purchase. Only at the GM Giant, Crane Buick GMC. Go Bears! Go Bears! Go Bears! Go Bears!